I think, I can't speak for all founders, but, I think founders are driven by kind of crazy vision. They have to be a little bit insane. So my insane vision is always this idea, like imagine finance 20 to 50 years from now, the science fiction version of finance. What I imagine is a single giant ledger, a single computer for every market in the world. That means it's available in Nairobi, in New York, in London, in Singapore. And all of these things are synchronized at the round trip time of speed of light through fiber around the world, or through Elon satellites. That's 120 milliseconds.
Yeah.
So a dollar can be in New York, in London, in Singapore, in Nairobi in 120 milliseconds. So velocity of money, velocity of assets are as fast as physics allow. This is what nerd-pilled me on building this. I think Bitcoin is resilient to these entities collapsing. Now, it's not going to be without painful risk that in terms of like people that own Bitcoin, but the thing is it'll survive that, and all the properties of Bitcoin that people value will remain through that transition. So if you really value Bitcoin, you should see that as like an opportunity to own more of it.
It's extraordinary that it hasn't been hacked with so much at stake. Maybe you could speak to it as just an architect yourself and
The reason it hasn't been hacked is because it's so simple. And as an engineer, you always strive for simplicity to achieve a certain outcome. You can't always achieve that. Solana is much more complicated because the outcome we're striving is hyper performance, and it's just hard. So like Solana is much more complicated as a result of that. But Bitcoin is designed for a very simple settlement layer that is, I think, the coolest thing, the coolest piece of software written in the last 20 years is, I would say, the Bitcoin Nakamoto implementation.
There's been an enormous reanimation in the ETH market recently. Where do you think that comes from? Is that market-driven and speculatively driven, or do you think that there's a fundamental reimagining of where ETH lives in, between Bitcoin over here and Solana over here?
I'm honestly a huge fan of Ethereum. I think Vitalik is an amazing person, amazing engineer, and has a very strong vision. It's very different from my vision for Solana, and it's really cool to see those two play out. If I could predict what I do could cause a price change, I'd be a lot more successful.
Well, you've been pretty successful. So.